clear who the takers are. It's the people donating to Tuberville's campaign, but he wants you to be mad at your granddaughter or your grandson for literally no reason.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Tommy Tuberville is the U.S. Senator from the state of Alabama, and that is a position that he got only by virtue of having been a well-known head coach at Auburn University, right? I mean, we already, I think that even people that voted for him would understand that, and I don't think that's a very controversial opinion, right? That he won because he was a popular football guy. That's it. And Auburn University is, let's remember, a public institution, and so its employees, including the head coaches, they are state employees. They are state government employees. That means their salaries are paid by us, the community, the citizens, the taxpayer of Alabama. That's a position, head coach at Auburn, for which he was paid tens of millions of dollars by the people of Alabama, and for which he was paid $5 million by the people of Alabama to quit. He resigned with 3 years left to go in his contract and got $5 million. The people of Alabama paid Tommy Tuberville $5 million to quit.
Beautiful system.
Yeah. I think that's an important preface to this recent story about Tommy Tuberville. Ben, how much do you think that you would get in a severance package from your job if you went in tomorrow and handed him your letter of resignation? I know it's probably not going to be $5 million, but I mean, do you think you could at least get like $1 million from him? Or
I feel like I would get a really good Arby's coupon.
Oh,
and
well, that's not nothing. That's
a
not
lanyard. Nothing. Perhaps a lanyard.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the severance packages that normal people get, right? That working people get, but of course, special people like Tommy Tuberville get $5 million from the state of Alabama to quit. Well, Tommy Tuberville, the $5 million quitter, is, like I said, the U.S. Senator for the state of Alabama. That is also a position where he's getting, he is really, really raking in the government money. He is really suckling on the government teat, Tommy Tuberville. That is a position for which he is also paid by the people of this country, ostensibly for, representing us. While in this position, he has been a prolific stock trader. Of the literal millions of dollars he has traded while in Congress, again, supposedly this guy is like working for us, right? Supposedly he's supposed to be working for us. He's supposed to be representing us, but he's been able to trade millions of dollars worth of stock. Of the millions of dollars he has traded while in Congress, he has violated the Stock Act and refused to file more than 130 transactions on time. Transactions worth between $900,000 and $3.5 million. So between $1 million and $3.5 million, and that is just the trades that he has violated the law on, the extremely lenient law. And of course, Alabama stock trader on the Hill is opposed to banning stocks. He's opposed to banning stock trading. He says he reckons it would severely limit the number of folks willing to serve in Congress. Tommy Tuberville reckons it would severely limit the number of folks willing to serve in Congress if they were not allowed to make money by having money.
If it's not enough millions, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
They're just some millions, but not enough millions.
Yeah. If you're not able to just sit on your pile of cash and have more cash come to you by virtue of that, then that would really dissuade people from serving. And look, I understand that one of the stations that we're on, is a conservative radio station. And I understand that a lot of people in that audience will have voted for Tommy Tuberville. But, like, does that not, does hearing that not make you question his commitment to the people of Alabama? Does that not just make you think for a second about, like, I wonder if this guy is really in there to represent me, or if he's in there to get some stock tips? I think that most people under the sound of my voice on, the more liberal talk stations that we're on and the more conservative talk stations that we're on, I think everybody could agree that if that is the case, if it is the case that banning stock trading while in Congress would actually limit the number of people willing to serve, I think that most people would agree that's a good thing. Because I do not want people representing me in Congress that would not represent me in Congress if they couldn't make millions of dollars while they were there. I don't want that to be the motivation for them going to D.C.
And it's just more anti-worker motivation, too. It's
Yeah.
just like, when they're worried about these people who own stocks, what do you got, shareholders and stuff, they're
Right.
definitely not, well, what's best for the rank and file? They're like,
Right.
how can we exploit our resources, including our friends and family, which are their resources.
Exactly. I mean, I don't think that's a controversial opinion. If there are people that would say, no thanks, I'm not going to go to Congress because I can't trade stocks, then good. We don't want you in Congress.
Just want a little
But that's not
insider
what-
trading with my
Yeah,
political
right,
power.
Right. I mean, so our $1 million quitter who basically said that he wouldn't want to be in Congress if he couldn't trade stocks. I mean, that's more or less what he said. This week, he's in the news saying this. What's happening in our country right now, we're getting too many takers in our country. Too many people to take a check and they don't want to give back. They don't want to go to work. We've got Generation X and these millennials we've got to get Generation X and these millennials to understand that you have to tote your own load. You got to tote your own load. And, lest you think that Tuberville has some weird axe to grind with Gen Xers, a spokesman for his office clarified that the group of Americans he meant to attack was Gen Z, not Gen X. He wanted to make that clear, wanted to clear up any confusion. 45 to 65-year-olds, he's totally fine with. If you're under 25, he hates you, is basically that. He also elaborated with Way 31 and said, quote, we're getting too many takers in our country. They'd rather take a government check, which is literally what he did.
He's a professional, and he's one of the best. One of the best.
That's all he's ever done is
One
take
of
a
the
government
best
check.
publicly funded
Oh my
jobs
gosh.
you could get, I'm sure.
I mean, this guy, all he's ever done, did he ever do anything before he was a coach? I don't know. All he's ever done is take a government check. All he's ever done is take a government check. And now, look, like, if we want to be charitable, and who knows, maybe this is the case, right? After all the people that he'd be palling around with in D.C., and in Montgomery at all these fancy fundraisers that you and I are never going to go to, right? All the people that he'd be palling around with in his day-to-day life as a multi-millionaire, right? Maybe he's talking about the children of the rich kids that he sees that just coast on their parents' wealth. I've seen people like that. I've seen people that, the wealth of their family has just totally destroyed them, right?
Yeah, all those stocks have to go somewhere.
Right,
so it's
right,
like the
right.
circle of life.
Maybe he's talking about the CEOs who are making 1,000 times what their median employee makes. Maybe that's what he's talking about. I could get behind that. I could get behind the idea that we've got too many takers in our country, and they're the bosses, right? We do have too many takers in our country, and they're the bosses and executives and CEOs. That's who the takers in this country are. That's who the takers are. But of course, that's not who he's talking about, right? And we know that. That's not who he's talking about. He is trying to bring forward for the people listening to him. He's trying to bring forward this idea of some lazy young person who just refuses to work or contribute to our society. And you know, I mean, I tell you what, as a young person, I cannot bring to mind a single person. I don't know a single person that either does not have a job or is in college full time. I can't think of anybody that would match that description offhand. And I think that's, I think that's the case for most people. I mean, Ben, how many people do you know that's just sitting on their couch, for no reason, totally able-bodied, and are just skating by on government checks?
Can't think of any.
Can't think of any. Yeah, I mean I can't think of any, and he's going with this attack, despite the fact that the labor force participation rate among working age folks, working age defined as 25 to 54 by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is up 20 points over the last 70 years. We have 20% more working age people working today than in 1950. Of working age people, of people aged 25 to 54, 20% more of those people are working today than in 1950. We're at the same labor force participation rate that we were before the pandemic started. And Tuberville, who I cannot mention him without reminding you, got millions of dollars to quit. He is scolding us for not working enough. But maybe, I don't know, maybe let's dig into the data a little bit more. Maybe if we get a little bit more granular, maybe we can see, maybe that's going to reveal something. If we dig a little bit deeper into the data, if we look at 16 to 19-year-olds, 20 years ago, in 2001, about 50% of them had a job. Today, it's 36%. Now, there's a significant decrease in high school-aged children working today. Okay. You got me there, but I will say that I don't think it's bad that fewer high school-aged children are working. I think that is actually very good for society that less high school-aged children are having to work, okay? So let's go up another age bracket. Let's go 20 to 24. 20 to 24. 20 years ago, we had 77% of 20 to 24-year-olds had a job. Now it's 71%. So we see that the decline in the labor force participation rate among this age group is much, 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 much less than the high school age children, right? It's pretty similar, 77% to 71%. It's a little bit of a drop, but, I think that this can pretty easily be chalked up to more people going to college than 20 years ago. I think that's a pretty easy explanation, and again, I think that's good. I think it's good that more people are getting more education. I think that's good for society. When we get to ages where folks are really going to be out in the workforce, like when we get to 25 to 34, right? These are really, almost everybody's going to be out of college at this point, and we're going to be, this is my age demographic, 25 to 34. We're going to be in the workforce, right? The labor force participation rate among 25 to 34-year-olds is almost identical. Almost identical. It was 84% 20 years ago. It's 82% now, but it was actually lower than it is now in 2011. It was 81.5% in 2011. And so actually, there are more young people working than there were 10 years ago. Among 35 to 44-year-olds, same thing. We went from 84% to 82%. So this idea that he's putting out there, that there's just this horde of young people that are just stealing from the hard-working olds. It's absurd. It's absurd. It is not based in reality. He's trying to gin up generational divisions, stir up resentment, divide us up so that we don't see who the real takers are, and that's the bosses. That's the big bosses, the executives, the people in New York and D.C. These are the takers. But he wants you to reckon it's your grandson or your granddaughter. Because while more people are working than ever, which is a fact, more people are working than ever. More working age people are working than ever. Our wages are stagnant. We're taking pay cuts during this inflationary period that is largely being caused by price gouging. You don't believe me? I mean, just look at the numbers. It has been shown that more than 50%, the majority of the increase in prices has gone to what? Maybe increased wages for those greedy quiet quitters? Maybe it was increased capital investment, or maybe it was increase in cost due to supply chain issues. No, and no. More than 50% of the increase in prices during this inflationary period, during the last year or so, has gone directly to increased profit. Not to higher wages, not to capital investment, nothing. Just increased profit. Just literally the people that own taking from the people that don't. That's where all this money is going. It's going to bank accounts of people that have more money than they know what to do with. And here in Alabama, I mean, we see it all across the state. Paper mill workers were locked out a few weeks ago because this big international corporation wants them to take what amounts to a 10% wage cut. This big international corporation wants them to give up their protections against overwork, while their CEO got a 300% raise. The CEO to median worker pay ratio at Amazon is 6,474 to 1.
Woo.
For every dollar that an Amazon worker makes, Jeff Bezos makes 6,474. In the 50s, the average CEO to worker pay ratio was 25 to 1, which 25 to 1 is still sounds like a lot if you just think about 25 times more than somebody. You are making, it's not like okay, I'm making 80,000 and my boss is making 300,000. That's something on the order of what, 3 or 4 times? And that still sounds like a pretty big divide, right? That still sounds like, we're talking in the 50s, it was 25 to 1. 25 times. The average CEO made 25 times what their median worker made. I think that sounds like a lot. Now, it's something like 300 something to 1. 300 something to 1 on average. So, I mean, it's clear. It could not be more clear who the takers are. It's the people at the top. It's bosses, it's politicians, it's the executives, it's the people donating to Tuberville's campaign. But he wants you to be mad at your granddaughter or your grandson for literally no reason. This week it's young folks. Next week it's going to be immigrants. The next, the gays, and on it goes. All the while, folks like him get millions of dollars to literally do nothing.
Yeah, I haven't checked the number of bills he's put up, but I don't know if he's quite living up to those millions of dollars he's making off stocks right now.
I would not think so. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.